Not only with the election coming up, but there's new ways that people are voting, new ways that people are engaging, and we want to make sure that some of those details are getting out there, out to the public. So please help and share. Thank you so much to Miranda for coordinating everything on the back end and getting us started. So
very engaged group that we have, which is awesome. And Sarah's going to talk about, to get started, of how you can look at this information, even if you've already done this for your personal self, how you can utilize this information to help someone else do it. So looking at this information kind of from a different lens than you might normally. Go ahead,
yes. Awesome. And that's so important. And that's part of why we even created Rise back in 2017, was just so many people have questions. They're at that brink of being engaged. How can I take the next step and be an advocate to share with my friends and family, share with my networks, my organization, and be secure in what I'm saying. So this slide right here is just, we want to encourage you, and some of you actually that are on this PowerPoint encouraged me to kind of help encourage people to write letters to the editor. This is your chance, if there's some things that are happening this election or out in our world that you want to have your voice heard. Rise has always been an advocate for that. If you need help writing letters to the editor, or who to contact that's your local elected official at the right level of government, we're happy to help. Just some things up on the screen. This is how to contact us, but calling and texting your friends to remind them that the election date is, so Tuesday, May 5th is coming up, right? And originally we all thought that was going to be our primary date. I know not everybody votes in primaries, but there's a lot more energy around this primary. We have some open seats for county offices in Lake County, recorder and coroner, and some other things down the ballot. And then our congressional seat is open. So there's some things that people are just now awakening to and paying attention to. And so we might have some more an uptick in people voting. Anyhow, the original date was May 5th. Well, it's now the governor and the state. There is a state election commission, and they have moved that to June 2nd. And this happened back at the end of March or so. But our whole point at the bottom of that slide is the information has not gotten out there. So please tell people it's June 2nd. And there will be in-person voting at polling places on that date. So this slide here is just showing some of the timelines. I'll go over that quickly. I'm so immersed in it all, and Miranda knows this because we talk often, that I often jump around because my heart is just in advocacy, and I just want to tell you all but just make sure people know not to show up at their polling place next Tuesday, but they've got a whole nother, month or so until June 2nd. But if they have that ballot and they have received their ballot in the mail and they're ready to vote, they should consider filling it out and getting it into the mail. I'll go over these deadlines. These are very important. All of you that are tuning in, thank you so much for being here and sharing this information. So May 4th, that's Monday, is the deadline. Like we mentioned, the governor and the state election commission backed all those dates up. So originally we had some dates at the beginning of April, but May 4th is the new voter registration deadline. If you're going to do a paper form, there is a paper form, an Indiana form and a federal form to register to vote, whether you have to update your address or maybe some other information change, a name change, and you have to use a paper form for some reason, those must be postmarked by May 4th. So the postmark is important on that. There, you can use indianavoters.com, which we'll talk about later in the slideshow here, to update your voter registration, to do a name change, or other things that go along with your voter registration, or just check on that. And actually, we are going to show you some of that. But May 4th. So, and why that date is important is if you're not registered, you can't even go forward to vote in this primary. So making sure that people are registered is the first step. And if you have any 17-year-olds in your life, in your world, or that are quarantining at home and probably very antsy, they can also register online as long as they have a state ID or driver's license and vote in this primary if they will be 18 by or before November 3rd, which is the general election. So 17-year-olds that will be 18 by or before November 3rd can register and vote in this primary. So May 4th, guys, that's Monday. That's very short turnaround, but if you know anyone that needs to, tell them to get registered. May 21st, that is, and I would honestly, if you're someone that truly cares about this, or you're a candidate, I saw a candidate on our call, you know, put these dates on your calendar, put them in your Google Calendar. I do, you know, I can just rattle them off, but get these things memorized and help tell people the correct information. We know it's tricky because it has changed and things are kind of like a moving target, but May 21st is the deadline to get in that absentee application to vote by mail. So if you do intend to vote by mail, I wouldn't wait. I would get it in soon. Lake County, I know some of you follow me on Facebook. We've mailed out over 13,000 ballots, and there'll be thousands going out next week. So please, please, if you're considering to vote by mail, get that application in by May 21st. You can email, fax, or send them in by mail, but we must have them May 21st for them to be accepted. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to say about that, but I'm sure some of you will remind me. They need to go to your county, so if we have anyone from Porter or LaPorte on the call or other places, these deadlines we're showing you are statewide deadlines. This isn't just applicable to Lake County. This is statewide information. Most of this is. Just some of the numbers I'm telling you are from our county. So these deadlines are statewide. If you have friends that live in other counties that are following their elections, this is statewide. I know up here it's tricky because we get Chicago news and Chicago media. So, and that's also a thing why Rise has become some, you know, to the forefront, because we just don't have some of this information coming across in our media. So then after that, June 1st is another deadline. So if you know someone that's maybe needs to apply for the travel board. Now, one thing I do want to say about travel board, that's when people that are trained from each party, Republican and Democrat, will go to the home of a voter that is extremely, say someone's bedridden or has extreme health issues or for whatever reason needs the travel board. They will come to your home. Now, I would call your election office, county office, if you know someone that needs that, and ask. I do not know what they are doing with that because of all the health concerns right now. And there were some changes, as some of you probably watched with the governor yesterday, on releasing some of those. But our county and Lake County is still under that until May 11th. So we need to be cautious of that. So I would just check if you know someone that needs the travel board, give your county office a call. And then overseas voting. If you know anyone that's in those criteria, they shouldn't wait. They need to call or get their information in ASAP. Last but not least, and honestly most important, June 2nd is election day for the primary. But the other thing that is most critical, and we'll go over this in the presentation, is all ballots by mail must be received by noon on June 2nd. So election day is not May 5th, it's June 2nd, and all those people that are voting by mail must have their ballot physically in by June 2nd. It's not a postmark, it's June 2nd, received in the election office, okay? But I think that's everything for that. I know it's a lot, and I kind of go into it more because I know these deadlines feel very restrictive, and they're kind of, like I said, a moving target. So just spread the word and try to be very correct when you're giving information on. Let's see. So we just, if you've seen this graphic out and about, Miranda is just an amazing guru with getting things out. So please share some of our graphics on social media if you like them and can get them to your organizations, networks, friends, and family, about voting by mail if that's a good option for them. Like I said, June 2nd, there will be in-person voting on that date. That is the primary date. So, and now we're going to talk about completing your application to vote by mail. These are just some reasons that you might consider it. So, oh, and I do want to mention that you do not need to have a reason. So normally in Indiana, there are 12 or 13 reasons. There's an absentee application that has to be filled out first, and that's what we're going to go over next. Normally, there's a section that you would have to select. I'm over 65, I'm working during the poll, the 12 hours that the election is open. 12 different reasons you can choose from. That has been eliminated, so they're calling it no fault absentee. Again, the governor and the state election commission, this is not a county thing, this is a statewide thing. You do not have to give a reason because of the health crisis and concerns that are going on in our state. Anyone is eligible to vote by mail should they choose, but they need to fill out that form as we talked about, and get it to their county office by or before May 21st, and I wouldn't wait. And we will talk about how you can do that online later in the presentation. I know some people are interested in that as well. So we have upped the ways. The state has opened up some ways to get that in faster. And if you can, I would fax, email, or use the online portal to get your form in. Mail, you just can't, unfortunately. I mean, we can't always count on the mail. And so we just don't know when something is going to arrive. That's why we're going to talk about the urgency with getting your ballot in too. So yeah, I think that's all for that. Let's see. Yes, so we're going to talk about how you can get the application to vote by mail now and what to do. So this is really important. I'm so glad that everyone is joining us today because this is what most county offices are getting requests for or have questions about, and how to obtain that application. If you want to call your county office, we've listed the numbers here. We'll also put them on our social media as we have, like I said, share our graphics out in your networks. You can call and talk to someone physically and have them print you the form from the statewide voter system. But they'll mail it to you, so it's going to take a day or two to get to you. If you want to, you can download the form yourself and print it, but it has to be a handwritten signature. They do not accept electronic signatures. So this is just a couple of ways to get it. And then, as I mentioned, there's a new platform to complete it fully online through the indianavoters.com. All right, so this is what an absentee application looks like. Nothing much has changed in Indiana. This has always been the first step. I don't know, when they necessarily instituted this, but at the very top, Miranda's going to point with the mouse, the instructions. So make sure you read that. We've got, they tell you exactly when it has to be in, May 21st by midnight. So we accept them by email, fax, and mail. The offices, I can just speak for Lake County, at least the government office center is closed through May 18th. So you cannot drop anything off there. So if you're know anyone that would like to drop something off, that's not an option right now, unless they physically work in the building. So email, fax is great, or using the online portal to get your application through. But you're going to fill in your county of residence. You've got your name, birth date, registration address, and telephone is optional. Social security number is optional. And then the next line is just for if you want the ballot mailed somewhere else. Maybe you have a P.O. box or you're a college student and you want it mailed. There's just some different options for mailing your ballot. You have to select a primary, what you're going to vote in the primary, because this is a primary, and Indiana has a closed primary. So even if you show up at the polls, they're going to ask you do you want a Democrat or Republican ballot? And you'll get all the candidates that are running under that ticket, and you'll get to select from those choices. Public question, I will tell you that Hanover Township has a public question. So some of those folks may choose that only to get that. There is no reason to select, as I mentioned in a prior slide. So you just need to sign and date the form. That's really important. And get this back to us by or before May 21st. So let's see, what else was I going to tell you? Is that number 3 and number 4 are the most skipped. People not filling in a party or how they would like the ballot sent to them, and then signing and dating the form. And then just quickly, the bottom section, if someone gives you the form, number 5 is, so I turned my forms in for my brother and sister-in-law. So I just wrote in the date that they gave the form to me, but I didn't assist them. So I didn't need to fill in number 6. Number 6 is if someone needed a lot of assistance with filling this form out, that bottom section would need to be filled in. So we just wanted you to see this form. I think most of you on the call are probably, have even filled this out before or understand, but there are some common things that get missed. And what can happen in any county that you live, this is the process. If you skip number 3, or you didn't sign your form, or if you're not registered at the address that we have in our voter file system, these forms can get rejected. So a letter would get sent out to you saying why your application was rejected. I don't want that to happen to anyone. It just slows down the process. I mean, that's the correct way that they have to go about it. But just please tell your friends and family the things that they do have to fill in. All that top part in number 1, choosing a ballot for number 3, and then signing and dating the form. It's highly critical that they sign and date. We just don't want them to get slowed down. So if they use the online portal, there will be a little bit less. The signature is going to be matched up with what we have online in their voter registration when they first registered. So there's just an okay for that, like a check area for that. And we're going to show you in a little bit. So, and I saw some questions come through. If you guys think of anything that you want to ask, I know I can personally get some things back to some of you that are on this recording or this call. Please do not feel like any of your questions are, very minor. I know some of this is very detailed. So if you feel that someone else has asked you a question and you want to get that answered, please, you can type it in the chat or you can contact us later.
And just as a reminder, we will be conducting Q&A at the end, so keep your questions coming. Like Sarah said, we're just going to hold off until the end of the presentation to go over each of them.
Yes. I'm just going to look at the time because I know I always feel like I'm talking long, but there's so much that's so important. Okay. So now you've filled out either that paper form, and you cannot type your name in that where it's supposed to be your signature. It needs to be a your handwritten signature by the X, okay, on my absentee application. I'm going to either fax, email, or use regular mail, but it has to be to the office by or before May 21st. Here's the information for getting it to Lake County. We gave you the phone numbers if you know someone in another county. We also have a searchable link that's through the Secretary of State. If you know people in other counties, this information we're giving you applies to statewide. So there's the mailing address for the county office in Lake County. You cannot physically come into the building. It's closed. So just remember that. There's the email address, the fax number. Those are 2 of the fastest ways to get it in. Again, you can call and staff will answer the phone 8:30 to 4:30 Monday through Friday, and can print forms out or answer questions about how to fill something out. And they're here to help you. I mean, everyone in there is answering hundreds and hundreds of calls every day. So happy to help and get as much information out as we can. So I think that's all on that. Okay. So this is a little new. Obviously, it just kind of opened up, I think, even this last week, Monday or Tuesday. The paper had put it out, and we're going to talk about the online portal right now of how to get your application in completely online. So you have access to Wi-Fi, you've got an iPad or computer or something, and you can do this. I would caution everyone to please tell their friends and family. If you're not sure that your form went through and you went and either you did a voter registration at Indiana Voters, or if you just submitted your absentee application at Indiana Voters and you're not sure because you're not, super tech savvy, or it's not the most user-friendly thing, please call the county office that you're from. If you're from Lake County, it's 755-3795. Give us a call and we can check for you immediately. Okay. And if it's not there, and if it's something you can redo or fix, then you have time to fix it. I've helped so many people with that. I just would really caution that if you're not sure that it went through, or if there's something you want us to be sure that maybe your faxes went through, we can go and look. So, right now I'm speaking with my Rise hat on, but I'm just telling you that all of the county election staff is so able to help with these things. And I know this portal is new, so if people have questions, I'm so happy it's there, but that they should call and check if they're not sure that something went through. So indianavoters.com is the website where you can register and get this voting by mail option. Those are the steps, but Miranda and I figured out we can show you all where to go. So
IndianaVoters.com. This is the official website of the Indiana Secretary of State's office. If you notice the website changes to indianavoters.in.gov, do not be alarmed. It is the same exact site. It's just easier to type in indianavoters.com. So when you're on the homepage, you will see a few blue boxes of different things that you can do on the website, such as registering to vote, checking your voter status, updating your voter status. The box that we're concerned about today is the vote by mail or traveling board box. In order to complete your application, you're going to want to click apply online/get forms. The next screen is just letting you know that in order to continue to complete your application, you do have to visit your voter portal. When you're ready to do so, you're going to click Visit My Voter Portal. This next box that pops up is asking you to type in your first and last name, date of birth, and the county that you are registered to vote in the state of Indiana. By typing in your information, this will pull your voter registration information from the system. So you're going to want to type in your information correctly and then click the submit button. Once you click that submit button, a new screen is going to come up that's going to ask you to verify your information. So double check that it is correct, your first, last name, the county you are registered to vote in, and then your date of birth. Once you verify that information, you will click the continue button on the screen. New screen will pop up, and it is talking about the new security enhancements that were added to the voter portal. A two-factor authentication was added to the voter portal to keep your information more secure. This is an opt-in or opt-out system, so you do not have to participate in it. But if you choose to participate in it, on the next screen, you will be asked to type in your driver's license number or your state ID number. And then moving forward, every time you log into your voter portal, you will be sent a code via either email or phone number, whichever one you provide, and you will have to type that code in onto your computer before you can access your voter portal. Like I said, it is optional. It's just an extra way to secure your information online. For the purposes of this today, I'm just going to click no so we don't have to type in that extra information. To verify your information at the top one more time to make sure you are in fact inside your own voter portal. Then you're going to want to go over to the left hand side of the screen by the gray box and go all the way down where it says absentee voting. When you click on absentee voting, three options will come up. The first two are associated with the vote by mail. There's the English version and the Spanish version. Clicking either of those buttons will take you to the application in the language that you need. So clicking the vote by mail button, you will see that an application appears. The application itself is exactly how Sarah went over it on the paper version. The top portion will populate your information. If it does not populate, you want to make sure that you type in your information exactly how it appears on your voter registration, or else the system will have an issue pulling it in the county election office. The next sections, like I mentioned, are exactly how they would be on paper. When you're selecting your affiliated party, it is just a drop-down button. If you choose to not select a party and you just want to vote in the primaries, public question, you would click that last section. If you received help completing the registration, you would click the yes button, and that would populate the next section that you need to do. And then this bottom section is your signature. So checking this box acts as your signature. It's very important that this box is checked. Your application will not go through if it's not. Once you are all done, you will simply click the submit application button in the lower right-hand corner.
If this is not going through for you to just get into the portal itself, please check with call your election office and see what we have on file for you for your name. So I've dealt with people that they were trying to put in Danny, and they're actually Daniel is their formal name that they were registered. So just be sure if there's something that you or your friends and family or anyone you know has been having hiccups, it's best to just give a call, and they can either, tell you what's on file, and then you can just make the quick fix. You don't have to re-register. So something may have happened, with your registration. We just want you to check that first if that's what the issue is. There's just something called name conformity where that's a thing that we've had Therese and Teresa's. So maybe over time someone's name changed for whatever reason. So and we've had some birth dates, slight things. Just give us a call and we can call your election office and the staff can help you. But again, the directions are here on how to go step by step. I think confirming your information. If you're not sure, if you can't even get into the portal yourself because your name or your birth date, something's happening, call your county election office and talk to them and explain to them exactly what you're trying to do. And maybe there's a tweak that you can make. Okay. And be very clear when you're explaining to the staff there about what's happening on your end. If you did not receive a paper ballot and you're trying to vote by mail within at least 7 days of submitting your form and you're sure it went through, call your election office. So that's in yellow at the bottom of your slide there. Please, if you're having any issues, give a call. Your ballot isn't going to come the day after you submit your application. It's going to take some time in the mail, but if it hasn't come within at least 7 days or even 10 days, just call and check, and they can at least see that it was sent out and tell you the dates of what's going on. So I think that's all I have to say about that. So voting at home. So this is brand new for a lot of people because we're feeling, the very concerns of COVID-19 and the fact that we now have access, a lot more people have access to vote by mail. So you've filled out that form, you've done all the prior steps that we just talked to, and your ballot arrives. Yay! So it's in a big outer envelope, okay, and it's manila, looking kind of thicker, and that's what it looks like. I think this is all. We just wanted you to, some people, pile up their mail and they've got a lot going on, and understandable, life is busy, but look for your ballot, tell your friends and family, or if you're a candidate, please tell your future constituents, look for that ballot and get them in. We'd rather you fill it out now if you're ready to vote and get it back to the election office than have something happen and the mail doesn't get to the office by noon on June 2nd. So here's what it looks like. Look for that. So opening it up inside, here's some things you're going to find. The blue one is just the Voter's Bill of Rights. This actually comes from Indiana Code, just telling you about the voting by mail process and about they call it actually absentee. So just some things about that, just to review. And then the green one, again, this is Lake County. So I think one thing I do want to say is that if you know anyone voting, our first congressional district is all of Lake, all of Porter County, and part of LaPorte. So all of the outer envelopes and some of the instructions do not look the same. So we have 92 counties in Indiana. Lake County is the second largest county, Marion County being the first. Each of our counties have a little bit of a opportunity to have different things going on with their elections. Not completely different. There is some guidance, but how they run their elections is up to their local election board and their local staff there. So I would be cautious if you're know someone from another county, especially locally. They may have a different outer envelope that looks the same. It's pretty similar, the process, but I just wanted to put that out there, that everything we're showing you is what is inside of a Lake County absentee ballot by mail. So the green instructions, let's see. One other thing on the instructions, I have one here in front of me, is I would read this, and it just tells you step by step what is inside of your envelope and what you're going to do. And to actually fill out your ballot card, you are asked to use a pencil, a number 2 pencil. Now, most pencils are number 2 pencils, so I wouldn't go hunting around the world to make sure that your pencil is number 2, but that's just, common terminology that most pencils are number 2. We'll show you in the next slide. So this is just what's inside. Hopefully you got a sticker, I hope. That's just a little fun thing to have. I think that's it. Just read that over clearly. And then another thing inside. So like we said, this is a primary. You're going to pick which party you want to vote. So the pink one you see here is in Lake County, how we give out, the Lake County office gives out, if you're going to vote Republican, it's pink. If you're going to vote Democrat, the candidates are listed on a white photocopied sheet. So this is just your listing of candidates, okay? And this sheet here should have your precinct listed on it on the bottom. And these people will be the people that are for your precinct. Yes, Missy, I don't know about all pencils being number 2, but most of them are. And you guys probably saw in my bio that I used to teach first grade, so pencils are a big thing. But if I see a lot of you using a little tiny pencil, you need to throw it in the garbage. Anyhow, so this is the card that you're going to use the pencil on, okay? So it says official ballot. Again, this is for Lake County. The signatures, when the directions give information about signatures, you're not putting any information on this actual ballot. The white part here is the secrecy envelope, and the other one is the official ballot, where you're going to be marking the candidates that you want to select that go with the prior slide we showed you who is on the ballot. So if I'm going to select Jim Jones or John Smith, that I need to fill in the bubble that goes with that person. So let's see. I think that's all to tell you, but you're not going to initial anything. This is just where you're marking the candidates. Down below, you see the word Democrat. This is a Democrat ballot. If you selected a Republican ballot, it should say Republican there. And do not write anything in those bubbled areas. We have bubbled in some things that it's a coding for your precinct. So this all goes through a machine, and there's Republican and Democrat counters that work in a bipartisan fashion to count all of these. But you place it inside the secrecy envelope. That's why everything is initialed by Republican and Democrat staff in the county office. You don't need to do anything except make your marks of who you're selecting. So, and one thing I guess I do want to say is that if you do accidentally use a pen, not the end of the world. Don't freak out. If you find a pencil and realize, oops, I used a pen and didn't read the directions, that's okay. Find a pencil and just lightly go over where you marked with pen. This is on the bubble sheet, okay? So now we're showing you the actually outer envelope that you're going to put your ballot card inside your secrecy envelope and put it inside this outer envelope, okay? The affidavit that you're signing off. Your signature will be matched with what you signed on your absentee application form, or if you use the online portal, it'll be matched with your what's on the voter file. And it's a very secure process, like I said. So you're gonna fill in the top part for, we're in the primary, so you check there. You are gonna put the date of June 2nd, 2020. If you put May 5th, 2020, or if you have any forms that say May 5th, those will all be accepted. Do not worry if you have friends and family that did that, that's fine. Either of those dates. Really, the most important part is, see that green box? Or if you're from another county, signing off on your ballot envelope, the affidavit envelope, okay, security envelope here. This is where they need to sign, not the inner part where you're making your marks, okay? You're signing off on this envelope that you're the person that completed this, and that you are the one that wants to submit these votes, okay? So that in Lake County, it's a green box there, and then you put the date. The information below is if someone is a power of attorney, or if they have other circumstances that they've helped someone with a ballot, that's what that would be needed to be filled in for. So I think I covered everything on this, but this is very important that you do not skip the signature. No matter what county you're from, signing and dating, it's usually on an envelope that looks similar to this. And noon on June 2nd, you guys. So if you need to get it in the mail, if you're ready to vote now and you're secure on who you're selecting, get it in the mail. The counties store them securely, and nothing is counted until election day. So noon on June 2nd, your ballot must be received. It's 12:01. Unfortunately, and this breaks my heart to say this, but votes will not be counted that are turned in late. So yes, there will be voting. So normally there's about 28 to 30 days of what we call absentee in-person voting, because of what's going on with the virus and nationwide voting. Early voting in person has been shortened to a week. So these are the times for Lake County. We have May 26th to May 30th. And in Lake County, please check with your county if you're not in Lake County, but all counties will be having some form of early voting. The dates that were selected did come from the State Election Commission, and then it was up to the election boards of that county to determine how they were going to administer that code that was handed down. So May 26th through May 30th, Lake County is having 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. And these are the locations listed. So if you see one that's in and we're going to be putting this on social media, you'll probably see candidates putting on social media. So that means these places will be open for actual going to a machine and voting. June 1st, that should be the Monday before Election Day. It closes 8 a.m. to noon. So that's shortened. Let's see. And then June 2nd is Election Day, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can check your polling place at indianavoters.com if you're not sure. You can call any of the county offices if you're not sure. But the best place is try to figure that out if you can ahead of time so that you're not scrambling. If you're interested in working the polls or know someone that is, as we said, Election Day, the polls will be open for in-person voting. And this comes county by county decision, how some of these things are handled. So if you are interested or know others, Republicans, there's an email address. It is a partisan thing. There's clerks, there's judges, and then there's an inspector for each location. So Republicans have an email address listed there, Democrats a phone number where you can leave a message. I would be sure if you know someone that, or you yourself are interested, you leave your name, complete name and phone number, an address, and tell them which party and position maybe you're interested in working for. And then maybe you worked the polls in the past and you were at such and such school. If you're requesting something like that, be specific so that those can get filled quickly, and then the counties know what kind of holes they have. They are seeking poll workers, and it is a paid position. You're going to have a long day, but it is paid. I know in Lake County they're preparing online trainings, so there's opportunities to have things in person right now with large groups of people is not an option, or shouldn't be. So they're preparing online trainings for poll workers. Look for more information soon if you're in that pool of people that will be doing poll working. Yes, high school students can be poll workers, not the inspector, but they can be the judge or the clerk, and they get paid. So if that's an opportunity for someone in your family, please do reach out. And if you need further information, calling your county is the best thing to do. But we'll put information on our social media on this. I don't think I have anything else to say.
I had one thing to add, Sarah,
Yep.
just to clarify, you can participate in early voting at any of the 11 sites. You do not have to go to the one that's in your community, any of the 11 that's convenient for you.
Yes. So they're kind of like vote centers for that period of time. It's just very shortened early in-person voting. Yes, so if there's one closer, then I would go there. Just some more advocacy. Miranda and I, and some of you already reached out and suggested some things, and that's why I'm going to tell you a few things here. So advocacy means, that's one thing Rise is really proud of, telling you how to speak out, telling you how to be heard on. Maybe you have an idea, maybe you have something you're concerned about, maybe you just want to be heard. How to say those things constructively and getting them out in the public or to the right officials. So coming up this Monday, the Lake County Election Board is meeting, and it will be on Zoom. We've put it on our Facebook page on Rise, and the information is listed there. And then they're going to have a following meeting on the 12th. So if you have some public comments, you might want to tune into that meeting. I know some of you did before, and it worked out very well. There's a hand-raising tool, just like we have on this Zoom, and you can be called on for, I believe it's 3 minutes of public comment. Now, it's just comment. It's not that they're going to necessarily have all the answers or have a full discussion. It's just public comment. And you can email public comments. We've listed the assistant director's email there in Lake County. I encourage you to do this. So if there's things that you've seen or heard in the public, or if you have friends and family that are concerned about something happening now, but maybe you're looking forward to the general election, you want them to think a little bit more proactively, get the ideas flowing. Just like I mentioned in the beginning of the presentation about writing a letter to the editor, this is another option too. You have that election board to reach out to with your comments. The State Election Commission, we listed their email there. They did meet, I think it was April 22nd. There was a meeting, and they had over 220 emails sent in statewide to them. And they had some people come on their Zoom with great information and, not only a comment, but they had backup data or sources with their comment. So I would consider that for anything that you want to send in. Maybe there's other counties, other states that you see doing things that you want our county election officials to be aware of, or our state to be aware of. Send that in and use those opportunities to make sure more people are aware. You got all your stuff, you and your friends and family, you're ready to vote. I personally get so many questions about this, or people reach out and they're just like, especially on the Democratic side right now, there's so many people running for not only president. We know that the president there's some different things. I want to say one thing about that. On your ballot, all those presidential candidates are going to be listed. So there are state deadlines for the ballot to be like kind of, just finalized. And some of those presidential candidates, they still had an active campaign then. So it was February 24th that ballots, they had like a poll where they do a drawing in Lake County, and then they list them how they were drawn. They do other things in other counties, but February 24th. So if you see candidates that are on there, especially for president, that are no longer running, yes, they are listed. That's the process. Anyhow, you can use vote411.org. It's a nonpartisan site where you can get not only see who's fully on your ballot, but you're going to put in your name, and you're just going to, not your name, your address. And it's going to populate where you vote, how to get to your polling place, a lot of information. And then you can preview the people that are on your ballot. And then the candidates have all been invited since March 1st. They've received a letter. They've received outreach from the League of Women Voters. The League and Rise partner on this opportunity to have this online portal where you all can kind of build and learn about candidates, and then build and select who you're going to vote for. So, and the candidates can use that as well to promote out on their social media and other places that they've put this information out there. So it's a great place to learn. It's nonpartisan, and all candidates had the opportunity to participate in it, no matter what party that they're from right now in this primary. We will be reaching out to school board candidates or people that are third party candidates, because they file at different times after the primary has ended. So we'll extend that vote 411 going into the general and other ways. It's a great opportunity to learn more. So please promote that in your networks. Reaching out to the county offices. Again, they're not going to know everything. The platforms of the candidates, that's not necessarily a place to go, but they can help you at least get the access to the kind of ballot or questions maybe that you want answered. Miranda listed a Hoosier voter hotline. If you have a concern, here's a phone number that you can call, connected to the Secretary of State, connected to the election division, okay? And emailing about public comment for upcoming election board or state election commission meetings. I think that's it. I know that's a lot of information, you guys, but if you have something further, and I saw several questions come through, which is so awesome, in the chat. We might not get to all of them. Here's my Rise email. That's my cell phone number, the 688-4881. I do not mind, especially texts. Right now, just getting back to voicemails is a little tough, but if you text me, that's a good way to go. Here's our Rise website. Contacting us through our social media is a great way to go. We're happy to help. So I think there's only a couple of minutes left, and I just want to thank everybody so much for kind of slogging through this information. I know it's not like bright and cheery, but there's so much going on in our worlds. And just remember, June 2nd at noon, those ballots, if you have a paper ballot, it is due, must be received. So please, please, please spread the word that the election is not May 5th. It's June 2nd in person. And
finally, we do invite you to attend our next Zoom meeting, which will be Tuesday, May 19th from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. We will be taking a deep dive into how to vote by mail for the 2020 Indiana primary election. Invite your friends and family. This is the week that the applications are due to be eligible to vote by mail. So it's that final push to ensure everyone is comfortable submitting their application last minute and comfortable submitting their ballot by voting at home. So please join us for that. To register, you do need to register to get the Zoom credentials. So you can follow us on our Facebook account or send me an email and I can register for you. But if you visit our Facebook page, we do have an event page set up on that, and the direct Zoom link is right there for you to register. If you have any questions, like I said, feel free to reach out to us. Thank you and have a great day.
If you don't already follow us on social media, please, please, please share our information. We're not just saying that because we want to get our name out there. We want to get the information out there. And that's the biggest thing right now is, unfortunately, a lot of times we would be working with the local coffee shops. We would be working with the local grocery stores, all those places that are traditionally open a lot longer in the day than they currently are. And people would see the information throughout their community. Unfortunately, since that has declined significantly because of COVID, we really need to make that push on social media. Texting, calling your friends and family, just to remind them that there's those opportunities to vote safely and confidently this year. I think it's very important to make sure that everyone is aware of all of the changes. And as Sarah already mentioned, unfortunately, there are some people who still think that they are voting on Tuesday next week. So it's just really sharing the word out as much as possible. But you will receive an email with direct links of everything that was in the presentation, so you don't have to worry about trying to type it out on your own, along with the recording of the presentation. And we will be posting this to Facebook. Like I said, I do want to do a little bit of cleanup on it, but we will be posting it to answer Helen's question. So thank you so much. I hope you learned at least something. And if not, please take this and share it with someone else. That's the biggest thing right now. Utilizing your voice and your power with your friends and family even. It's huge. And you guys really do have the capacity and the power to do so. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we hope to talk to you all soon, and hopefully in person next time.
Yeah, this is tough. Thank you so much.